Today I want to talk about leaving your life behind. But so many times when we start looking at our lives today, we feel that we've got to go into a lot of analysis. And if you look at what psychiatry has done, it's about taking things and trying to delve into it and going deeper and deeper and deeper. And we're sort of digging up this stuff all over again, right? And so we keep digging it up, digging it up. I want to give you another way of looking at it. Yesterday I woke up and I said, oh, well, maybe the guys are going to come today and pour a deck that we're having put in the back so we can put our new hot tub on. We've been waiting for a while, and I was waiting, and then I got the call that the truck broke down, and I said, well, since they're not here, maybe I'll just go. I have some big boards, facial boards above it on a deck above it. I'll paint those boards now so that when the deck is there, the new concrete, I won't have to worry about dropping paint down. That makes sense, right? And so I go up there and I'm painting away, and then I come to I'm walking back out. I come around to the front of the house, and there's my garage. My garage door has been bothering me for months. And I'm saying, do I? And then all of a sudden, I pulled out the caulk. I'm caulking the door. The next thing you know, I'm painting the door, but I haven't finished with the door because I'm looking at the picture. And I'm saying, what about all the trim? What about the gutters above it? So I'm up there and I'm painting the trim and I'm painting the gutters. Well, I can't stop here because I got this peak over here. So I go and I do that peak. And I said, well, what about this one little gutter right there? Okay, that finishes the gallon. But the whole time I was doing that, I was thinking about this talk today. And what came to me is that it's the same idea of painting that we do with our own lives. We don't have to go in and rip out the garage door. We don't have to rip the gutters down, rip the facial off, and put all new stuff up to have a new look. All we have to do is paint it. In other words, all we have to do is put a new coating of thought on something. So we can change the atmosphere of what we've created by putting something new on there. But what stops us from putting something new on there is we keep dragging the past into the present and saying, this is who I am, this is my experience, and I can't be anything more than that. So we got to leave the past behind. Think about how many times in the day are we reflecting back in the past and we don't even have a clue or an idea that that's what we're doing. But we have a pattern of thought that's going on in our mind over and over again, and all it is the past resurfacing, regenerating, and most of that thought is unconscious. In fact, that thought pattern causes mental illness. Mental illness is simply this. It means that you're not able to focus on where you want to be. Instead, you're focusing on something that is going contrary to what you believe about your truth. Illness means you're missing the mark. The same idea as sin. It's not an illness. It's not a sickness. We got the idea that if you start talking with people that are renowned in the fields, John DeMartini and Dr. Joe Dispenza, they talk about how the brain is wired, how the neural pathways in the brain cause our chemistry to change. And they talk about the fact that as we think, we cause the neural connectors to realign and shift within our mind, and that produces a different thought vibration, which also produces a different chemistry within us. And with that chemistry, our body, through time, regenerates, rejuvenates, and becomes that which is in alignment with what we want to be. So when we see people that are going through this idea of medical diagnosis of bipolar, or medical diagnosis of manic, or medical diagnosis of depressed, it means that these individuals have set an expectation so high that they can't possibly see the reason to hit it based on their past experience, and therefore they formed a whole connection of neural pathways in their mind, and that has generated a chemical response from within the body that has caused them to go into extreme depression. And you see, when we go to the doctors are giving us things to the best of their ability, to the best of what they know, to calm us. They give us these ideas of, you need some Valium, you need some cocaine. Oh, they don't say that. You are paying attention, that's a good thing. But they give us these drugs, and all these drugs do is mask symptoms. They tone down the vibration. They actually numb you. When you really think about all the drugs, it's numbing the effect of whatever might be causing us the illness so that the body can possibly heal itself. So let's say we're on the chemical and the body's starting to numb a little bit. We've got to be doing something. You see, the healing process is within us. We are the power that causes the healing. And in order to heal, we've got to let go of the past. See, the past has brought us to where you are. That's all it's ever done. Now, if you keep reflecting on that past, if you keep reflecting on it over and over again, you're going to stay stuck right where you are. Now, how many people want to stay where they are? Not a hand went up. Do you see, that's because there's a natural DNA within us. There's a natural desire within us to be more. It is inherent in us to recognize that there's more for us to experience. Now, we're going to go into this, and this is going to tap some of you at a level that maybe it's not tapped before, but you're never creating anything. Everything is already created. What you're doing is you're becoming aware and you're recognizing it. And when you become a vibrational match and you're able to recognize something, that becomes your experience, because the infinite is everywhere present, always present, all at the same time, everywhere. So that means that any possibility of anything happening is now. That's why we always talk about God is in the eternal now, this idea of allness in the eternal now. But in our conscious mind, our little minds that we have here, we can't see what we want until we tune into that frequency. In other words, it may be vibrating at 105.7, but we're at 98.2. And at 98.2, we can't tap into that. So what we have to do is we've got to start turning the dial of that channel so that we get up here to the 95.7 or 105.7. And how do we do that? We do that by the changing of our thoughts, the conscious changing of our thoughts. I don't know about you, but anytime I'm going through this idea of elevating my thought, and it's really not elevating, but it's shifting my thought to have a new experience, it's really uncomfortable. You know what I'm talking about? Not only is it uncomfortable, but you're not on solid footing, right? You don't feel secure. You don't feel secure because, why? Because your whole life is based on your past. And when you settle back into your past, you feel sound, you feel a foundation, but that foundation has locked you where you are. Why is it that you hear stories of women who are in abusive relationships where they're physically battered? Constantly physically battered, and they won't leave. They won't leave because the fear of the unknown is greater than the fear of the known. Isn't that interesting? That's what it's about when we're going, and it doesn't have to be that you're battered. It just means that anytime you're going for something different, something new, it becomes unknown. And that's when the boogeyman gets you. Think about that. We always think about that. When we're in that unknown step, if it's a relationship, if it's a new job, if it's being creative, it's about taking a new action toward our health, whatever it is, it's unknown. And we automatically, there's something within us that draws us back. And what draws us back on top of it, not only within us, but society all around us wants us to be as we were. Society has got this whole illusion it's created about how you would fit in. Today is the day before Memorial Day. Memorial Day for me means this. I honor the men and women who have given their lives and served the idea of freedom. I don't honor the wars they've been in. But see, they didn't choose the wars. They chose to be a part to defend our freedom, and they did that without any question, and they gave so very much. So for me, Memorial Day is celebrating that. You see, we got to separate. What are we celebrating? Are we celebrating being in Afghanistan? Are we celebrating being in Iraq? No, but we are going to celebrate these young men and women who stepped forward under this great illusion that they were giving freedom, because they believed it. And let me clarify that. Everything is an illusion. So I don't want you to think that they had the illusion. Everything in our lives is an illusion. And we're recreating that illusion over and over by our thought patterns. And what is it that's bringing us into that illusion? Our past, right? You listen to all of them. You listen to John Lennon. And when he talks about imagine there is no heaven, imagine there's no hell, imagine there is no war, imagine there is no religion. What he's saying is imagine a world in oneness where everything is interrelated. And in that interrelatedness, we accept everyone just as they are. And as they are, we see their perfection and we embrace their harmony and we become that harmony and we spread it into the world. That's what I want Memorial Day to be. I want it to be a day of remembering who we are. That we are not just citizens of the United States, we are the infinite individualization of the oneness that we call God, and we are perfect from the moment we took our first breath, and we will always be perfect, and no matter what we do, we will never be cast out, we will never be punished, because nothing can do that to us. But rest in mind, there is a law that there's cause and effect, and if you do something, there will be a natural effect on us. The world is surrounded by order. Everything in the universe is order. You could not have trillions of stars and solar systems and not have order. Therefore, within these bodies that have 100 trillion cells, there's order within our bodies. When is the order gone? When we feel we're not separate, when we've bought into the illusion of being different, and buying into the illusion of being separate and different, we attract dis-ease, meaning we are not in the flow of oneness, and our body is reflecting back to us that we're not where we want to be, that it's not our natural state, and it's saying to us, shift your thoughts, come back in, feel me, see me, know me. Ooh, let's do a Tommy song. My mind goes so fast. I could just say, see me, feel me, hear me, touch me. That's God in you saying, I'm with you. I've always been with you. Stop looking outside for yourself. You see, our memory tells us we must look outside. Our memory remembers we were looking to our parents for our love. Our memory was telling us we're looking to our siblings for our love. Our memory is telling us we're looking to our extended family for our love. Our memory is telling us that our schoolmates, we look to them for our love. Then we come into the thing, well, when we're into a relationship, our memory is saying, based on what I've heard, I must have someone out there to come and make me whole. Greatest lie ever told, that you need anyone to make you whole. You came into this world whole. You came into this world perfect. You came into this world to express. You came into this world to express only as you can express. And that's all that was ever asked. And the person who asked was you. There is no power above you asking you to be a certain way. The power that's asking you to be the way that only you can be is you. The key thing is to go within and love and embrace your uniqueness. When you embrace your uniqueness, then you live authentically. And when you're authentic, you're self-loving. When you're self-loving, you radiate an energy, and everyone around you will accept you. You're easy to be with. Have you ever noticed that? That when you're with someone who's being authentic, how easy it is to be with them? But when someone's got the facade, has the front on, they're moving and grooving, they're trying to show you, yeah, I'm cool and all this. You know it. You know it in a second. And then we fool ourselves when we're in the dating game. I was in a dating game 1,050 years ago. And in that dating game, I remember I fooled myself and my partner fooled me. I got attracted to physical beauty. But the mental energy said, run. And I didn't run. And then what happened? You get caught up in drama, right? What is drama? Drama is when two people are not being authentic and they're coming together in that non-authenticity. And in that non-authenticity, they're doing this dance. And this dance is one of complete lies, nonsense, and made up garbage. And there's no way that they can possibly truly enter into a state of love, because love means accepting the other person exactly as they are. They can't do that because they haven't accepted themselves as they are. Therefore, it's a fruitless endeavor, and we might as well just say, stop now. Let's just go another way. Let's start over again. Let's get out the paint bucket and paint a new coat of paint on this. So anyone who's in a relationship that's not working, I'm not telling you to go home. Leo, I'm not telling you to go home today. Get a bucket of paint, get a huge brush, and paint Marietta a different color. That will not change your partner. You see, I don't want you to get the idea that because you become authentic, you can change your partner. You can't change them. Does that make sense? You can work and change your vibration. And you're really not changing your vibration. You're coming back into your vibration. Did you hear that? That was really good. That was really good. You're not changing your vibration. You're just coming back into your real vibration. And when you come back into that inner vibration, what do you feel? Peace. You feel an inner joy. You feel good. You don't have to be with anyone, because right where you are, your world is perfect. That's what happens when we meditate. When we still that voice just that little bit, and for a nanosecond, we get in the gap between the thoughts, that space. We're there. And that's like taking your iPhone and plugging it into the charger and not having to wait a half hour for it to charge. But the second you plug it into the charger, it recharges instantaneous, because you're tapped into a flow of infinite energy that's beyond anything. That's why meditation is so big. It's in that little nanosecond between the gap between our thoughts that we plug in and we become juiced. Think about that. That's why we teach meditating twice a day. We talk about that all the time, that daily practice is the most critical thing to changing our lives. Because when we're doing meditation, we're unplugging from the past, which is a good thing. And when we're doing prayer work or affirmations and work, we're painting a new coat over our lives. We're putting a new energy into our lives. We're putting new thoughts and creating a whole new mental atmosphere. And as we create that, we have raised that frequency to the 1057. And now we're tapped in, tuned in, and turned on to the divine that is everywhere present. And we are in the flow. And in that flow, our lives just expand in our relationships. They expand in our money. Our health shifts and changes. And it's easy. It's easy, and yet if we get our humanness in the way, we'll think it didn't happen fast enough, because we are creatures of instantaneous desire and instantaneous fulfillment. In retrospect, really to raise our frequency on a consistent basis, it's a process. It's a moment by moment, it's a daily process. And if it is that, then it gradually starts to change. You don't put a pot of water on top of a burning flame and it instantly boil. But when you put it on that burning flame, over a period of time, it heats and it begins to boil. That's the same thing as changing our mental atmosphere. Here's the interesting thing. If you put a pot of water with lukewarm, or a pot with lukewarm water in it on the fire, and you put the lobster in, the lobster's just fine. But as the water begins to boil, before you know it, the lobster has cooked. Not very pleasant for the lobster. I don't think anything's pleasant for a lobster. But think about yourself. This is where we give up. We start our spiritual practice, meditation, doing affirmation and prayer work. And we start to raise the vibration, but we don't see the result. And we stop. And all we had to do was keep on, and we would have been there. That's where the words persistent and consistent spiritual practice come in. This is the great illusion of the movie The Secret. The movie The Secret said, if you do this, it'll be yours. They didn't tell you that it's a dedicated, lifelong effort. That you have to shift and desire to be in the flow at all times. And in the flow has to be your number one thing. To be in control of your life is something that you desire to be one of the top things that you want to experience. And if you choose it, then if it's a top thing, you're going to be doing it. If you're not doing it, it's not your top thing. That's not a judgment, it's just not your top thing. You're doing in your life right now what is your top thing. So if you're watching 6-7 hours of TV a day, it's your top thing. If you're on the internet doing Facebook 4 hours a day, Facebook's your top thing. If you're a tweeter, tweeting is your top thing. If you're a chef, we went and saw the movie The Chef yesterday. It's at very few theaters. Highly recommend it. Because in that story was this magnificent chef who, as a young man, came into this restaurant and was world-renowned. He was a critic who reviewed him at that time, said, this is the best upcoming chef ever. 10 years in, that critic comes back and he gives him a scathing review because the food he was cooking now was the same food as 10 years ago. His boss told him he couldn't create a new menu. He wanted to create a new menu, and he was living a life of bliss. He was married to Sofia Viergo. Whatever, you all know who I mean. Sofia. Brazilian. And I mean, he's miserable. He gets divorced from Sophia. How do you do that? Now, ladies, I'm coming from a male perspective, so back away. Don't come and crucify me afterwards. There's no cross in the back. And she keeps telling him, go get a food truck. Go get a food truck so you can be your own boss. And he doesn't until he gets a scathing review, and this whole thing blows up on social media, and he ends up getting a food truck. He goes all the way from California to Miami to get this food truck, and he takes his 10-year-old son, who he wasn't close to. He kept pushing his son off because he had to cook. And through the process of starting to do what he wanted to do, he got the flame back. All of a sudden, he started turning up the flame inside of him, and his light started to show. And you saw the transformation. Not only did you see the transformation in him, but you saw the transformation in him with the relationship with his best friend, with the relationship with his son, with the relationship with his ex-wife, with the relationship with the critic who gave him the scathing review. You see, he had to learn to let go of the past to birth the new. And what I want to share with you is that the only reason you are alive in human form is to birth anew. You are here as a full and whole and perfect creator. The power that you need to create is right where you are. It's always been where you are. You just got to lift the basket and see it. And once you see it, you've got to learn the tools to use it. Because until you choose to use the tools that allow that flame to go up, nothing changes. And you're stuck in the past. Let's go within. And Charles, keep filming. We're going to pray. And as we pray, I want you to understand that the words that I speak, let them be your words. Let them be you talking to the you within you. And know that there is but one mind. That mind is infinite. That mind is here. That mind is now. That mind has always been. That mind always will be. That mind is all-powerful. That mind is my mind. That mind is your mind. And I embrace this idea. I embrace this power. I embrace this truth And in the embracing of that truth, I am set free from the bondage of the past. And I am free and birthed into the creativity of the now, where all things take shape. It is in the now that I live. It is in the now that I come forth. It is in the now that I speak, and I release anything that is not serving that higher vision, that higher expression, that higher desire. So if I am seeking a greater sense of health, I release all thoughts of a condition that is not of perfect health. And I embrace my body. I embrace the recreation of cells into perfect cells that homeostasically interact with each and every other cell and build a body that functions with ease and grace. Tapped into that one mind, I now have clarity over everything I seek. Whether it's for my values, whether it's for a new job, whether it's for a new partner, I see from the infinite perspective the true match in my life of that which is coming forth. And I open my ears and I hear it. And in the hearing of it, I resonate. The vibration lifts me and I embrace the truth. And from the truth, I begin to act. I begin to speak. I follow it with more thought. My actions flow with ease and with grace. And in that, I shift, shape, and I become aware, and my world comes to me as I desire it to be. And it is into that desire that I settle, I rest, and I behold the life that I have created. And I see it, and it is good. It is very good, and I bless it. And as I bless it, I give thanks. And in gratitude, I bring it in and I let it go. And as I let it go, I know it to be done, and I rest. And in one voice we say, and so it is. Amen. I want to thank you for joining us today. I am so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask you to go to our website. Once there, click on the Contribute button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to the world. I would also ask you to please share this message with anyone you feel might benefit. Again, I want to thank you for joining me and the Agape community as together we bring joy to life.